welcome to the Final Fantasy playlist. My name is Adam, and in today's episode, we're talking all about the Port of Peril. The Port of the Peril is the first release by Scholastic Books, who took over or bought or were sold the rights from Wizard Books back in 2017 when this book was first published. Written by Ian Livingstone, the front cover is by Robert M. Ball, and the collector's edition was done by Ian McRae. Now, all the internal illustrations, this is a bit of a first for Fighting Fantasy. They're all done by Vlado Krizan, and they're very nice. They're okay looking, but for the first time ever, Fighting Fantasy books have moved away from the traditional hand-drawn black and white line art that you find inside the books, and has moved on to creating the artwork using computers. And I kind of get the feeling that these should be in color, that these were created in color, and would look absolutely awesome in color. Unfortunately, we get black and white versions of these computer-generated images, and they kind of lack their goriness, their rawness from the original Puffin series, which went over into Wizard Books, and they kind of feel like they are more kid-friendly as opposed to the scary, horrific ones of the past. Nothing wrong with the drawings themselves; they are great, and Vlado, you did a great job, and Robert M. Ball, the cover is absolutely awesome. And if you happen to get the collector's edition, that's what it looks like, done by Ian McRae. Now, let's have a read at the back and see what the story is all about. Are you brave enough to face the savage demons of the underworld? Evil stalks the land as undead hordes rise from their graves to terrorize the living. Embark on an epic quest from Moonstone Hills to the shadowy streets of Port Blacksand to the depths of the Darkwood Forest, and ultimately face your worst nightmare. May your stamina never fail. Now, as always in the Wizard Books, which was kind of adapted for the first time in them books, if you don't have any dice, you have the option of using the dice that are given at the bottom of the book. You just flip open, and there it is. Of course, as well, the adventure sheet is found at the back of the book, along with all the tips and tricks on how to play it. And it's a bit of a redesign for the adventure sheet as well, in the fact that not only are you given now boxes that you can put your initial stamina in, or your initial score in, sorry, but the whole adventure sheet itself has been given a makeover, and because it's done on the computer, it's not hand-drawn, although it's hand-drawn on the computer, it kind of loses that raw charm that Fighting Fantasy have. All the illustrations are very child-friendly, and I imagine most people reading Fighting Fantasy these days are people who grew up with the books, who are like my age, and I'm 42 this August. And so kiddie drawings just don't sit well with us oldies. But I understand completely where either the illustrator, the author, the publisher, where they're all going. They're aiming these at the younger audience, like they did the first time, back when I got interested in them first. And kids' tastes have changed. Computer imagery perhaps is more appealing to the youngsters of today, as opposed to the hand-drawn line art. I don't know. I'm not a professional. But that is the case now moving forward, that all the illustrations are done on the computer, they're black and white, and that is what it is. Now, as I said before, this is the first time Scholastic brought out an original title for the Fighting Fantasy series, and when they did, they re-released some of the older books. So they went back to the Puffin or the Wizard series, and they re-released them. And here are the 5 books, as well as the Port of Peril, that you can pick up in the first batch of re-releases. So they're re-releases of the Puffin, and then they're re-releases of the Wizard series. So, and there's more moving forward. We have more original books moving forward next week with the Gates of Death, and there is even another one at the time of this recording, one due to come out this September, called Assassins in Black Sand or something. And of course they're carrying on re-releasing the older books as well. Now, My initial thoughts on this book were it's okay, to be honest. I've read better from Ian Livingstone of the past. You know, things like Forest of Doom, City of Thieves had a lot more rawness and a lot more, I don't know, scaring to them. They're a bit more chilling. Whereas this book, it felt very familiar. Certainly because it's set in Port Blacksand, it's a city that everybody loves and wants to visit again and again. And but if you've read City of Thieves, if you've read other books that go to Port Blacksand, you kind of get the feeling of, well, been there, done that, as it does skirt over similar things that you can do in the city. Overall, though, the book is well written and has some good ideas in there, but I just get the feeling, I don't know if it's the publisher or the author, but it's almost beginning to feel a little tired now, from my point of view. I do enjoy these books and I love, new content, but my view is kind of shifting on the enjoyment of these books now. Whereas I feel like the best of the books were back in the Puffin series. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Did you play this? Have you completed it? I haven't. I died just early at the beginning, to be fair. And another thing to note as well, let me know your comments. I do want to hear them, but also just note that there are quite a lot of errors in this book, more so than most other Puffin or Wizard released books. And I don't know if this is because of the new publisher or maybe the author is missing things now, but there are sections like on the first page, in fact, the very first page, there is an error where you read the background, and I'll come back to that as well because there's something weird in there, but you read through and it says add 1 stamina point, okay? Now, of course, you've just rolled and created your character. You've got an initial level of stamina which can never be exceeded, and on the very first page, before you've even lost any, it's asking you to add 1 stamina point, which is an impossibility because you can't exceed your initial score. So it's kind of like, that was missed a little bit. Other things where you're kind of described in the background as penniless. You have no money, and yet you are unable to buy anything like halfway through the book. But there are moments where you can, up to that point. So it's simple little things like that is littered down the book with simple glitches, I would say, in the writing. But other than that, great book. The one thing I did find weird, in the background section only, whenever somebody went to speak, there was very big, excessive gaps between each, between each sentence. I don't know if this is the new technique of printing now, but as you can see, whenever there's somebody talking, there's really big gaps. So very strange. I don't know if it carries on. I haven't, as of recording this, read The Gates of Death yet, but that's the book I'm going to pick up next. Thanks for watching this. Tune in next week. We're going to go through The Gates of Death. Take care, adventurers. Bye-bye.